You're wondering why I'm wearing such a funny hat. I always wear this hat. So much, it's a part of my name now. My friends, my very, very best friends, they just call me Rose the Hat.
It looks like a magician's hat.
It is. It's a magic hat. Do you want to see? Nothing up my sleeves. Nothing in my hat. Don't worry, that's my friend. You're missing the trick. Reach inside.
Wow. It's so pretty.
Because it's special. And speaking of special, you're a little magic too, aren't you? The flower in my hand, what color is it?
Purple.
Violet.
Rebecca, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
So after all these years, we revisit The Shining in a completely new story based on the thing by Stephen King. For those who haven't seen it, tell us about your character and where we meet her.
I play Rose the Hat, or as I try and say, Rose the Hat, with a little bit of an Irish twang. I'm a leader of a group of misfits, of outcasts.
So this is several years after the original Shining. Danny has now grown up and is living with the memories of everything that happened to him in the Overlook Hotel. Without giving away anything else about the plot, because I think people will want to see it unfold, how do the paths of Danny Torrance and your character meet?
It's an interesting one to interview, isn't it? We can't describe anything. Nothing happens, and yet... No, but we do pick up 40 years later, I would say. And we meet Danny Torrance, who is battling emotions and stress from his past. And I think slowly accepting where he is when another threat occurs and it activates something within him. And his path is crossed with a little child called Abra.
Okay.
And the connection between my character and Danny Torrance is through this little girl who possesses a lot of what she calls the magic. And as this is what my character feeds off, she is, to quote myself, which I like doing, my great big whale that I want to capture.
That was very elegantly done because it summed it up, but it didn't actually give anything away.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. I have to make a confession, is that I did a doctorate in horror fiction, so that's what I do. But I read in an interview that you're not a horror fan.
Could you be with me in all of the interviews? Because I don't feel eloquent enough
I have nothing else to do. That's fine.
Good. No, it's very simple to say that I wasn't a fan of horror movies. I was not a fan, and I am still not a fan of things jumping out at me.
Okay.
And that is what they call I mean, you would know how to put it eloquently, but a startle effect, the non-control that something will come out. I hate it, and I will cry. There's something that happens in me.
If you watch a movie which has got to the jump scares.
Even if someone behind me would jump out, I would not enjoy it. You know those Halloween things that people walk around and they jump out? It is my apps. I just feel uncomfortable talking about it.
Okay.
But then obviously with these films, I did, The Kid Will Be King, which is more for the younger audience. But I wanted to do research and think, what is it that scares and what is it to be animated but not too animated for the younger audience? And then you take it into the genre for us adults. What is it that is non-startle? What could I watch and feel terrified about? And I watched a lot of serial killers. I watched a lot of interviews with psychopaths, as other people would refer to them.
Yeah.
Tried to find the link between and give my character wisps of that. And what made me the most scared was the maternal, nurturing aspect, the human bit of someone, where I can look at them and think, like Ted Bundy, for example, a beautiful, intelligent, smart man, we're drawn to him. And yet he describes so brilliantly his emotion or lack of emotion when he kills these people.
Had you seen the original Shining when it came out?
Yes.
Did it scare you?
I was too young to be scared in the beauty, in the aspect of what Kubrick created. But I think what it was the sound effect. It was the music. It was very loud.
Yeah.
It was a very monotone tune. And I fell asleep through the maze. And I think because I was so tense. And then I couldn't sleep for a couple of nights after that. And I never saw the ending until now when I was offered this role. And I obviously watched The Shining.
Obviously, I don't think it's giving anything away to say that the Overlook does feature as a character in the new film. And
Very well put.
That does, thank you.
You're welcome.
That does mean that there must have been moments when you felt like you were walking through something that you had experienced in the past. Can you tell me about that?
I guess this is also one of the beauties about being an actor and being a part of this world. If you love film and if you get the possibility to link on to something that you have appreciated. I mean, I absolutely loved Kubrick's The Shining.
Yeah.
And when I saw the sets that they had created for our film, knowing that a linking scene would have something to do with the past and you know, the bloody corridors, I think we can mention, that were created in the former film, they could all be seen as linking bits into our film. That was incredible. And also, because Mike Flanagan is such a geek, ridiculous geek, I mean, love him because of it. And also, that was one of the reasons why I did this film. He created the tricycle for us grown-ups, and we got to cycle through the sets with the sound effect of the carpet and the wood.
You mentioned the bloody corridor. One of my favourite moments in it is your character seeing the bloody corridor, as you referred to it, but the look on her face is like, that's good.
Yes.
Which is kind of exactly what I remember, because that was the original trailer for The Shining was just that shot
and the music
and the sound of of that score in the background. Well, I thought it was a very nice touch. It's not, but it's like, oh, that's good. I'm kind of impressed by the.
It's fun you bring that up because we did so many takes. I try to always push down my own expectations, but a lot of people ask me if there was a pressure to do this film in relation to The Shining. And for me, it is so important to see them as separate entities. Mm-hmm. They're obviously connected, the same characters, but new things appear, new threats, and you should be able to see this film without having seen The Shining, and it should still be a good film. But for me, that moment was the most important one. How does Rose the Hat react in an environment she has never been before? But for us movie geeks, we all know. And I think she would love it and embrace it. It's the sign of human weakness, isn't it, that she feeds off.
You're defined to some extent by, you said they called Rose the Hat. Did you get to choose that? Was there like a million hats? Because we saw in, for example, when Kubrick was doing Clockwork Orange, there was a million versions of the bowler hat before they got to the one that Alex had. What happened with you and the hat?
Nope, this was such a simple pick. Now, I'm saying this, costume designer might go, don't you dare. You have no idea what I had. When I read the book, it was so well described, but also, I can't quote him completely, but it talked about questioning gravity, that it perched on the back of her head, questioning all forms of gravity or something. Yeah. And we talked about the possibility of having it there, but then that would become too much sci-fi because people would question the idea that it wouldn't fall off.
Yeah.
It was about making everything real. And then there's something very sexy about a top hat. It has very sharp edges, yet its sleekness. And we have an artist in the family, and I started describing it, and she started drawing it. So I have all of her drawings, which I'd like to frame and put on the wall. Yeah. And it becomes basically the hat, because the costume designer had done the same thing. We chopped off a real top hat.
Oh, right, okay.
So we chopped off 1.5 inches. And then inside it says Flanagan's Hat Maker. Now, I still don't know if that was the real hat maker or if he just made the old symbol as a little nod to like...
Did you keep it?
I didn't. It just got brought off set straight away. It was like treated like $1 million. Where's the hat?
You mentioned sci-fi briefly. Is Dune finished? Have you shot it?
Yes.
Can you say anything about what the experience was like?
Grand. A film with Denis is... I've never filmed with him before.
This is Denis Villeneuve.
This is Denis Villeneuve. The imagery is flabbergastingly beautiful, and something that he does, which was so much fun to work with, is the scope of the imagery, and then the next shot is a close-up of a screaming woman, for example. Mm-hmm. And what he's doing throughout this film is the balance of the massive, big-budget film and creating it into an indie feeling. And that balance was throughout the entire film, which means it's a small feeling of a crew, but in a grand scale. And I worked with the most incredible actors. I feel extremely lucky.
I'm a huge fan of Kid Who Would Be King, which I thought didn't find the audience that it should have done. I thought that film was really charming and had a real kind of... We have a thing over here that used to be called the Children's Film Foundation, which used to make films like that, but with no budget.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like that, but made properly. Did you enjoy making that film?
I loved making that film. And also because it was my first ever villain. I haven't really... I mean, you can analyse villains and we have good and bad, blah, but that was a real villain. And I had to be a caricature, sort of a animated character for kids. And I talked to my son a lot about it. And the costume was fun and being built into a tree and the director, everything. And also working with children, I always thought would be a pain.
I read that you thought that kids in films were scary.
I don't like children in scary movies. I don't like the vulnerability and the voice of a lost little child.
Yeah.
I find that's just silly.
So The Exorcist isn't a big favourite for you?
Oh my God. Do you know what the worst bit of The Exorcist is? It's when she walks like a spider down the stairs. There's something about a twisted body, the anatomy of the movement. Oh, it's so horrible. But I want to end it not by saying children are just children. There's something so, even with Dr. Sleep, there's something so real when you work with children who had yet not been coloured by the need to impress us, that they just do what they do, which means when you act with them or against them, you need to give them equally as much realism as possible because that's all they will bounce off.
Yeah.
Whilst with older actors, obviously not all because they're brilliant in their ways, become selfish. We do become more and more selfish. And I think that is one of the most wonderful things about children.
Mission Impossible, more? Do we know what's happening?
I have no idea what's happening.
So that you haven't seen scripts or...
Haven't seen anything. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if they're in pre-production. I think Tom at the moment is post Top Gun 2. But the thing
I'm a critic. I know nothing.
He is everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't even know how he gets so many films done. So right now, I have no idea. I'm off tomorrow on a plane to do Reminiscence with Hugh Jackman.
Wow. If you had to say one thing to say to audiences about Dr. Sleep, I mean, it's always very, very hard to sum up what a film is. If you were describing Dr. Sleep, somebody who hasn't yet seen it, how would you sell it to them? How would you pitch it?
A colourful, beautiful incline to absolute torment.
You know that's not going to sell tickets. So.
No, it will. But the thing is, you can't say it in one sentence.
No, I know.
For me, what I love about this film is the importance of sound and colour. I keep on getting back to this, but there's something that I'm stuck with right now. And it's after working with Mike. It's also after working with Denis.
Yeah.
Everything around, I guess, what actors are doing, because I'm the actor, I find interesting and so important. And this film, I hope, will have you on that edge of the seat. One of the most beautiful compliments that were given, I think actually was to Mission, was I bought a ticket, but I only used the edge of the seat. I bought a seat, but I only used the edge of it. And I thought that's such a good comment because that is what you want.
Yeah, that's very good. Rebecca, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure
so
speaking
much.
to you. I hope the film was... I look forward to Dune and to whatever happens with Mission Impossible. And incidentally, you're right about the spider walk. The spider walk is really, really creepy.
Oh, so horrible. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.